All right. So welcome. It's a beautiful day here. It's a gorgeous spring day. It's quite warm and sunny here. I hope you're having a beautiful day, whether that's rainy and cool and you get to nestle inside or somewhere in between that and sunshine. But either way, what we're exploring today is our basic ground of goodness, and our inherent strengths are those unique qualities that shine through each of us and make us very unique and lovable as we're living our lives out and about in the world. So maybe we could just start by centering in to a sense of our ground and our wholeness, and maybe touch into some of this basic foundational goodness to who we are. So you can do this with eyes opened or eyes closed, whatever's most comfortable for you. There's no special circumstance or way to be that we need to be in order to meet ourselves. We meet ourselves just as we are, here in this moment, just as it is. So, no matter what's happened throughout your day, just notice how it's led you here to this moment right now. You might feel the comfortable weight of your body as it rests into the surface where you're seated. Take in the familiarity of the space of the room around you, either with eyes open and just slowly glancing over each shoulder, or with eyes closed and sensing into the space. Now, for these next few moments, there's nothing else that you need to do, nothing to attend to other than your own sense of being. And just sit. And the sense of me arriving once again because I was gone, because the internet fell away for just a moment. So we're just meeting everything just as it is. So regrouping, renaming, resettling, rejoining. Notice what it's like for the spontaneity of not knowing to have arisen. What happened in your body and mind? Perhaps nothing. Maybe nothing was missed. Maybe there was a deepening into just a settling of a ground of being and well-being. Or perhaps there were thoughts and emotions that arose. But either way, can you sense this deeper quality that was here all along? A sense of your background presence that's here. Whether expectations are met or spontaneous arisings occur. So the sensations in the body, might you drop down from the thinking mind and land more and more in the central core of your body. Back behind, if you will, the thoughts that are coming and going and the images that are passing by. Let them each be like just the wispiest cloud that's just dissolving in the sky. Feel yourself more and more as just this open, grounded presence. And within this sense of presence or just this ease of being, there's a basic goodness that's here. When we rest as being, there's a simple openness, a witnessing presence. Just our very existence that has an inherent goodness, kindness about it. How does it light up in the body as you settle more and more into this foundational goodness, kindness? And welcoming just a few more breaths here. Feeling this underlying felt sense of goodness and kindness as it blossoms in the body. Noticing any other inherent qualities, or maybe a particular fragrance here. And as we come into our discussion together, you might keep anchoring and feeling yourself established in this deeper ease of being and this underlying fabric of goodness as we come in together in community and see what else wants to be revealed and shared and discovered or revealed. So thank you. And thank you for hanging out while there was a disappearance here on this end. It's actually deeply anchoring here to come back and see everyone still, many of you still meditating and just settling and resting. It's nice to know that this can go on and I can just disappear. So, as we're coming in together, and I was thinking about today, I don't know, maybe it's the beauty of spring or the aliveness of the world that's reawakening. But anyway, the thought came around this sense of how really as we open into our underlying essence, this quality of being, how there truly is a basic goodness that's here at our core. As a foundation, it's that basic goodness is embedded in this fabric of our being. And with it, the more that we anchor in this quality of being, and I'm really curious to see what happened for you, how there are these inherent qualities that come forth, they kind of bubble forward, or it's like the fragrance of a flower, like I was referencing earlier, that just is emitted as we spend a little bit more time less and less caught up in our thinking mind and more in this easeful essence of who we are. And as we touch into this sense of our being, there can be this flowering of these qualities that become more recognizable to us. They just reveal themselves. And you could think about them as core strengths, or sometimes people look at them as core values. I just think of them as essential qualities. And what's really beautiful is that they're across culture. It is really an aspect of being human, not being American versus Australian versus Nigerian versus fill in the blank of a nationality, and a place and a culture. This is cross-cultural. It is inherent to being human. And so, we could we can make a list of these qualities, which, I'm sure I did for today. If I, I'm looking at my notes, this sense of, joy or love or compassion or integrity, just being integritous in our way of that we show up with others, being trustworthy. having an inherent sense of humor, a tenderness, a sensitivity. Doesn't matter our gender orientation, or if we're oriented more as gender neutral. It doesn't matter. These qualities are inherent to our expression of being human. And I think of it as, one way that we can access this is, if you were gathered, your closest loved ones, whether that be family or friends throughout your lifetime, and you were able to have a cup of tea with them and ask them, what is it about you that they love about you? An interesting question, What is it about you that makes them your friend, or that they cherish about who you are, right? This gets at our core essence that is uncaused, I would say. This is the distinction. A lot of times we think it's just our personality, right? It's just our personality and who we are. And I'm not denying that these inherent qualities are expressed uniquely through us, through our personality. But thank you. It's no longer, thanks for whoever shared with me that I wasn't spotlighted. I appreciate that. It's no longer about, just our personality per se, and it's not about what we do. That's what's key. When we get to this core essence of who we are, I didn't say that you're funny or you're successful in your career, or that you are really intelligent and can ace a test. It's not about what we do. These are essences about who we are. That it comes back out of that fabric of our being, right? And so, this is where there's a personal flavor about it, but it starts as a very impersonal, cross-cultural expression that any of us can tap into. And yet we each have this personal flavor. There may be, hopefully all of us on this call have a quality of loving kindness about us, but yet we each are a distinct, unique flavor when we're living as loving kindness in the world, right? And, some of us have a greater sense of humor that's inherent to who we are, and some of us are just more serious. But as we tap into this basic goodness, it allows us to possibly mine and explore, if it's interesting to us, what are these inherent strengths that are unique to us that we can begin to notice as we're living life. If we've had a period of anxiety, a period of stress, overwhelm, doubt, questioning, which, hello, coming out of the pandemic, how many of us haven't experienced that or have periods of our life where we go through that? That too is a part of being human. But even though we have to navigate those experiences, this is where I think being able to tap back into these essential qualities, come back home to our ground of being and that basic goodness can deeply nourish us and be a counterbalance to that quality of doubt or fear or stress. And as we tap into it, it's not just something that we feel inside of us. Here's the really cool thing is that if it's interesting to you, we can set these experiments where we go out and we live our life and we start to pay attention. So let's say you're just starting to open to a whisper of compassion that you realize is an expression of who you are. And it feels like maybe it's hard to anchor into it. Maybe it just feels like it comes and goes, or it's like a fragrance that's here and then sometimes it's not here. And part of reestablishing it and really feeling it in our bodies so we can feel that reverberation, like we're each like an instrument, right? Sit up a little higher so you can see my hands. If we're each an instrument, um, we want to live out in the world and be able to catch these moments where we can see our sense of compassion and the effect that it has on the world, and it's reflected back to us. And this is what happens is as we're living life, is as these essential qualities are just naturally shining through us. They shine back. They have an effect. And when we start to pay attention, then it's like when somebody notices something, or maybe you are just having a moment of loving kindness or compassion, and you're sitting with somebody and they've been kind of sad or down, and all of a sudden you notice that they soften, that they feel a little easier to be with, or there's a smile on their face. It's not at all about arrogance, or the personality of the ego eye. This is something different, but it is a reflection where it's more about that sense of connection. And we're connected in that basic goodness. And when we notice these things that are happening, it's like if we're a harp or a guitar, and deep in our in that central axis of who we are, it's like the strings are struck, right, of our hearts, and we can feel the reverberation of it. We can feel it somatically. And it's not something that we're doing, though. It may feel like it's a doing, but keep noticing how it's not a doing. It's just this natural expression from this deeper ground of being, from this basic goodness. Yeah. Dalian just dropped in the chat, being communal, harmony, creating an orchestra, we're all being played. Absolutely. I love that. And as we live life and we navigate life, we're just noticing, you know, hopefully we're starting to feel, and sometimes in our practice, we talk about like the symphony of sensations in our body, right? And we can feel the symphony of sensations, but we can feel the unique flavor as it comes forward, these deeper inner strengths or essential qualities, inherent qualities of our essential nature. So I'm just really curious if this is landing for you, or as you're feeling into this. And maybe I'll offer at the end for you to drop this in the chat box too, because maybe you'll tap into it in a different way in the meditation. But as I'm sharing this, what are some of those inherent qualities that shine through for you, that have come through as I've shared some examples? And thank you, Sherry. You say these are the harmonies of the strings of who we are. I love that. Absolutely. So we each have these various harmonic expressions. So what's coming through for you that it just feels like this is a natural expression that kind of can feel it as a warmth or a blush, or it might be something that has been this symphonic movement or song, or that's been woven in throughout your life. And if you can come forward and just unmute yourself and say it, or you could drop it in the chat. What are some of these qualities for you? Compassion and empathy. Mm-hmm. Great. being with. Mhm. Curiosity and inquiry. Yeah. Self-compassion. It's great that you can feel that starting. The more that we can open to self-compassion with ourselves, the more that we can then experience that with others as well. Aliveness and stillness. Feeling held. I like that. It resonates with like a tenderness here. That may not be your word, but that sense of just tenderness. I mean, there's many that may shine through, and over time, it's really good if we can gain access to somewhere between 3 and 5 that can help us to really land more into what makes us unique and feeling a sense of ground and security in our self-expression in the world, but realizing that the deeper essence is just that ground of being. That's where it's all sprouting from, right? That deeper basic goodness. But our essential nature does have these expressions that flower forward. And I realize that for some of us, we may not really know. It's a deep question. It is a beautiful inquiry that, again, it's one of those that we're privileged to be able to ask, to feel safe enough to ask the question. So I'd love to then explore in the meditation as we're resting in being and then seeing what arises. What are these core qualities or inherent strengths that are revealed? And then to look at, like, when you live your life from this basic goodness, how does it affect how you treat yourself, right? How you then engage with others. And it's not to say that we're not going to have a sense of feeling railroaded by, stress and challenging emotions, getting angry or feeling overwhelmed. That happens too, of course. And the more that we can then anchor down into what initially will feel like an inner resource, but ultimately is that deeper sense of our being, the more that we'll be able to potentially have a pause, have a bit of distance from whatever is unfolding, and actually respond from that deeper sense of basic goodness or some deeper sense of okayness. So it's forever an anchor that we can come back to again and again to recalibrate, reorchestrate, since we're going with the symphonic examples today. Are there any questions or reflections before we head in? There's a beautiful reflection in the chat that says, today I feel a sense of peace, loving kindness. Being me is good, growing, and almost like a new sprout going towards the sun. It's warm, it feels good. People around me are smiling as if they feel the warmth coming off of me. That's beautiful, right? That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. It's infectious. It's the good contagion that we all want, right? We know what it's like when we come into contact with someone who just has a deeper quality, a deeper ease about them, just a sense of okayness. They just seem more open. They're not so busy, preoccupied, or muddied, Not to say there's anything wrong with getting rattled. I mean, that, it just doesn't feel as good. It's going to happen. That's not the point. We're not, life's going to happen. But the more that we can re-anchor here It's like what it was Rebecca was sharing, right? And then we can start to notice it in the world around us, reflected in others around us. We start to notice the good, right? The basic goodness that's here. Why not? Why not tap into the basic goodness, right? Let's offer that to ourselves. Anyway, I kept talking. Is there any reflection before? I mean, I was talking about a reflection. Angela, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you asked about what is it that someone loves about you? And I've been kind of on a card sending kick lately because we don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I should write my friends and just tell them what I love about them now. And it's especially poignant just because I lost a college roommate this week. And it's like, yeah, let's say it now. I hate to go to funerals and find out all these fabulous things about people. And it's like, why didn't we know that when they were here? So thank you for that idea.
Oh, thank you for reflecting that idea back. That's beautiful. I'm sure that's inspiring for sure. And why not? Yeah. Write the letters, make the calls, say in person, all the ways that we can share it. Beautiful. Looks like there's one more chat. Yeah. Ah, Gabrielle, hi. She's sharing that it's so grateful for the established ground of goodness to rest into and hold us when times are overwhelming. Yeah. This is why we say little and often, is if we wait for the times where we're overly stressed and we're just looking for an anchor and a foothold, we haven't practiced it in the midst of the neutral times and in the midst of the open and happy times or grounded times. We want to do it all the time, but in doing it in the more neutral times of our life or just those everyday moments, it makes it more accessible in the times where we need it most, in the times where the overwhelm is starting to happen. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, shall we take a little bit longer to open into this and see what unfolds? Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, you can have cameras on or off, whatever's comfortable for you. And we'll take a little bit more time to deepen into this. And if you hear long periods of silence, just hang in there. I'll be coming back if my internet disconnects again. Hopefully we'll stay connected. So maybe just open into this moment just as it is. Touching in, noticing once again, just this sense of your body resting at ease, or perhaps there's some areas of discomfort. We're not trying to make our body or our situation anything other than it is. Turning that gaze of curiosity and openness and warmth and kindness towards ourselves. The space of the room around you, caressing your body, how it's here, holding you and supporting you. You might even sense out back behind your body to the left side, the right side of your body, into the space out to the right, out in front of the body, and how the space feeling touches back, permeates the body feeling. So more and more can you settle in to being held. Mouth soft, sensing any unnecessary tension in the jaw, or maybe deep inside the ears. Not to relax, but just to feel into it, just as it is, and notice what happens. The eyes softening as pure sensation inside the head. Sensing the throat. There's a feeling into the throat, in the center of the throat. Actually relaxes the thinking mind. So just feeling any unnecessary tightness or contraction in the throat. And if there's no contraction, just opening to the sense of the inner walls inside the throat. The shoulders, shoulder blades, feel your way. Streams of sensation all the way down through the arms, hands. Sensing back up through the arms into the upper chest. Feeling your way, sensing the whole torso, pure sensation. The underlying aliveness of the body. Might notice the caress of each breath as sensation, the gentle expansion in all directions in the fullness of the inhalation, and the gentle receding and softening on exhalation. Welcoming the sensation through the legs, feet. And the whole body now, the whole body in its inherent aliveness, this underlying hum or vibration. Sensing once again the caress of each breath, the inhalation, and the whole body expanding, every cell expanding on the inhalation. the receding once again with each exhalation. Joining with the energy of several breaths at your own rhythm. And tapping in now into this underlying quality of just this ease of being. The movements of sensation of body and breath, and an underlying, unchanging presence, your very essence. And tapping in once again to this basic goodness, how the foundation of being has a basic goodness to it. How it's not analyzing or judging, it's allowing and welcoming what is. A dynamic stillness in that it's not separate from what's coming, going, but yet it's distinct from like a background stillness, this underlying essence. A sense of pure perceiving and allowing. And as there's a dropping in, just notice how, as you open into this quality of being and the basic goodness, how it may have a distinguishing mark or a somatic expression in the body. How is this deeper ease of being and this foundational goodness felt? Is there a warmth in the heart or an openness somewhere in the body? And it could be also in the more field-like quality that begins to reveal itself as there's more of an expansion, opening out in all directions. But it too is felt as a distinguishing mark somewhere in the body or an expression through the body. Just notice it. Could be that underlying hum. And then exploring. You're resting more and more as this welcoming presence or this basic goodness of being. Are there inherent expressions that bubbles forth that's unique to you, these underlying qualities or strengths? It could be a sense of loving kindness or a tenderness. An openness. Or just a blush of joy. It's the unique scent that is emitted or the fragrance that has a particular expression as it lives through you. It's here, sense it now. How does it light up in the body? And if there's still a not knowing, just remaining open, being with what's most calling attention. No, you can anchor into this deeper ground of being or this basic goodness. That's enough. But if your loved ones were here, whether it's a partner or a parent or a niece or nephew, best friend, you might imagine them here in the room with you, with their own loving presence and sharing with you what is it that they love about you that's touched their lives. And see if, just like the instrument, is there a place, is there a string that's struck in the heart or somewhere in the body where you can feel it resonating? It's like a resounding yes, or just a recognition where it's felt. And if it's not resonating now, knowing that, again, the inner resource and this deeper ground of being and just the openness itself, the resting here, is an anchor in the basic goodness. But if there is an inherent quality that's bubbling forth, and just perhaps notice as you're living more and more in touch and as an embodied expression of this, how do you treat yourself? How does it feel to live through the day feeling this particular quality? Just anchoring one more time, recognizing that there's the sense of just the personality with a preference for this, but at times it's just blossoming, feeling yourself as an expression of patience itself or love itself, kindness itself. As you're ready, just reconnecting once again, this quality of just your presence. It's been here all along. This deeper ease of being. And basic goodness that's here is this background awareness that's untouched by what's coming and going. It offers the true anchor of ease and well-being. As you're ready, if your eyes are not already open, you might share tapping into this deeper quality, this basic goodness of being, or this awake awareness. Allow the eyes to gently open for a moment, taking in the world. anchored is this quality of being and well-being, or this expression that's been tapped into and revealing itself. And as we move into the rest of the day and the evening together, just knowing that we've tapped into this as a community, as we're opening into this field of interconnectedness that we share. Just knowing that you can maybe journal about this if it feels right. Catching the good and the basic goodness as we're moving into our everyday life. Maybe sharing what you notice and you love about your dear friends and loved ones. That feels right. And before we hop off, if you feel like dropping in into the chat, any one word essence around what you're taking with you or what you've opened into, feel free. Just another way for us to connect together. Really grateful for you all being here. Mhm. I hope that this is, thanks for what you're sharing. I really hope that unfurling is the last little one that I just saw. And I hope this keeps unfurling, this keeps blossoming and bubble forth. This is something that we live into. It's an ongoing embodied inquiry, like all of the practices, but something that we can really be curious about and reflect upon in our own journaling, um, in our own meditations, and just our quiet moments. It can be the secret noticing that's happening all throughout our day. These are beautiful shares, so feel free to save the chat box if you'd like. The last one here is so glad that it's what you needed and are loving, and I see the courage with a tender, vulnerable flavor to it. Yeah, glad it's helpful. Okay, friends, until we meet again, it's April. I'll see you in May, if not sooner. Thank you so much. And it's an absolute delight, and wishing you well. All right. Take care, everybody.